Healing Past Trauma and Abuse Through Christ. This is my 10th video in the series. Last time I talked about self-correction and Bible study. This time I'm talking to you about the final stage. It's got 2 steps though, so this video is going to be about the first step, and then my next and last video will be about that second step. Now these are ongoing steps that you're going to continue to work on throughout the rest of your life. They're just never going to end. But this one is really hard for me. This is giving up control to God. It was hard. It was so hard. So a lot of people who suffer trauma and abuse, especially in their childhood, they tend to become really controlling. They want to control. I wanted to control everything in my life because I felt like if I was in control, then people were not going to hurt me. And when other people were in control, I got hurt really, really badly. And so I was not going to let other people control what happened to me. There was no way that anybody else was ever going to have control over my life. It just wasn't going to happen. I couldn't trust that with anyone. And I couldn't trust, like, the adults in my life that I turned to, they just didn't help me. So it wasn't even like this one person damaged my ability to trust. It was just entire failure of a system in my life where adult after adult after adult after adult after adult failed to save me. And because of that, I just didn't trust anybody. So I was going to control things. And that was a survival technique that I used to make it through my childhood. And it was needed at the time. I needed it. I couldn't have gotten through it without it. But as I moved into my adulthood life, it changed, right? It turned me into like a really negative person, and I was very manipulative. I was going to arrange people as I wanted them in my life. And that way, if I'm always in control and I know where everybody's at and what everybody's doing, I'm never going to be surprised. I'm never going to be hurt. And of course, that is an illusion and that is a lie. And I learned that in this stage, that I didn't actually ever control anything that I thought I was controlling. But it's a tool that Satan uses to continue to control us, right? We think we're in control and we're really not in control. And so we take all of these things, and I have 6 children, and so we take responsibility for the failures of the things that we think we control. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm controlling my 6 children, so anytime anything bad happens to them, it must be my fault. And that is, I was just buried under guilt and shame about every bad thing that had ever happened to my children, because of course, clearly it was all my fault. And, and it wasn't. Life happens. People are going to hurt other people. It's just in our makeup. There's nothing we can do to get away from it. And unfortunately for people who suffer severe trauma and abuse, we have the extreme end of that, right? So it's not like somebody just told you that your dress doesn't look nice. Somebody harmed you. Somebody damaged you. And that pain is so deep that you just never, ever, ever want to feel it again. You just have got to get away from it. So you do whatever you can to make sure that you never go through it again. And that changes us and shapes us as a person. And so this stage for me, this journey for me was so long, and it was very difficult, but God was so patient with me. Every step of the way, He was there, and He guided me, and He poked me, and He prodded me, and He convicted me when I was doing something wrong, and He has been there, and He's just never left my side. And I realize now, looking back, right, everything that I went through as a child, God was there holding my hand through all of it. I was never alone in it. So, but that's for the next video. So for this video, giving up control. You have got to do it. You've got to give up control. And for me, right, I got to this point and God was telling me, it's time. You've got to give control up. You didn't have control in the first place, but you've got to give up the illusion that you had control. And in my OCD mind, right, my OCD brain, and it's like, kind of like you're in a speeding car that's racing toward a cliff and you take your hands off the wheel. It is counterintuitive. Why am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I cannot do it. And I couldn't do it all at once. And God knew that. So I did little increments. I gave up this bit of control, and then I gave up this bit of control, and I gave up this bit. And it's not, I wish that I could say, one day God just convinced me and I gave it all to Him. I wish I could say that. I wish that I had the faith at that point to do it, but I wasn't there yet. And that was okay. God understood that, and God will understand that you are wherever you are in your journey. So I gave up little things, right? I'll give up this control. I'll give up this control, this illusion of control, this illusion of control, this illusion of control. And every single time I did, God rewarded me rewarded me with peace. He rewarded me with joy. He rewarded me with prosperity. The surrender to God was really, it was freeing. Because if you are not in control of everything, then you are not responsible for those things when they go wrong either. And let's just be very genuine and honest. God is way better at everything than you will ever be or I will ever be. So giving God control over things, you've got a far better shot of success, right? God is going to make you successful in the things that you do if you have given him control. And that's really where you have to be at this point in the journey. If you've gone through those other steps with me and they're working for you, the next stage for me was this control thing. I had to give it up. And like I said, I gave up little things. And now I'm at a point where everything I give to God. I don't control anything in my life. And that there is so much pressure and stress that is just gone from me. It is just gone. And I don't have to worry. And it can be frustrating to some people in my life because they'll ask me questions like, what are you going to do about this? Or what is, this is happening. What do you think about this? And I'm like, we'll see what God says. And they're like, well, can't you just decide? I'm like, I could, but then it'd just be an illusion because God's in control anyway. So, I mean, that's not things like, where do you want to eat tonight? I can make decisions like that. But, most of the stuff I don't worry about. Even when I should be, things that in my mind, I'm like, I should really be worrying about this right now. I don't worry. That is gone. And, it's so great. It's so comfortable. My life is so much more laid back and peaceful. And so what you have to do is you have to start with something small, and you just have to give it to God, and you have to say, listen, I can't control this. There's nothing I can do about this. So I'm going to give this to you, and then I'm not going to think about it anymore. And Satan's going to push, and you just have to rebuke him when he does that. I've already given this to God. Satan, get out of here. You got no place here. And you just really have to trust that process. And God is going to show you just through those tiny little steps that he is going to do things for you that you cannot even imagine. And he's going to find ways to bless your life. And, and it's things that you couldn't even possibly see. And like I said, God doesn't exist in the natural. He exists in the supernatural. The things that he has planned are things that we cannot even imagine because we see things here right in front of us. And he sees all things, all time, all places. And so you have got to trust in God in this process. Now I am finally, like I said, at a place where I've given up control of everything to God. And I no longer stress and I no longer worry about things. And I am such a completely different person than I was just a couple years ago. Because a couple years ago, I was this tightly wound ball of stress and anxiety. And I'm taking Xanax for, anxiety. And I can't sleep at night. So I'm taking Ambien to sleep. And like all of this crazy stuff just pressing in on me. And I don't take any of that medication anymore. Just a couple weeks ago, I fasted 24-hour fast, and then I prayed for God. I'm like, just take away my need for these medicines. And I just stopped. And I was taking Xanax and Ambien for about 25 years. 25 years, every single day I took that medication. And then I prayed, I fasted, I prayed, I stopped taking it. And I stopped. I didn't wean off of it. I stopped. And I don't need it anymore. And you know why I don't need it anymore? Because God is in control. And I know that God is in control. And I don't worry about anything. Because even if something bad happens here on earth, I know where I'm going and I know what the end is. And God is going to be there and he's making a place for us. And he's going to, here on earth, he wants us to be happy and he wants us to be prosperous. And he's going to make sure that we are happy and prosperous. That doesn't always mean comfortable because we grow through stress. We grow through times of trial and struggle. That's how we grow. So you're going to have to experience some of that. And that's kind of what this is. So I want to leave you with a couple of Bible verses. There's Philippians 4:6 and Matthew 6:3-4, which tells us, not to be anxious. Don't be anxious. Give it all to God. John 15:5, we cannot do anything apart from God. Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in God and he's going to make your path straight. Proverbs 16:3-4, commit to the Lord and he's going to establish your plans. He wants good things for you. So this first stage here, you've got to give up control and start small and work big and believe that God's going to take you where you need to be and he's going to remove that weight from you and you're going to prosper and you're going to feel joy and you are going to become just a new person. A whole new person. And I believe it. I know that it can happen. I'm going to be praying for everybody out there who's trying to get through this themselves. I believe that God is going to really deliver you. So God bless you. I hope you have a great week.